Yeah, you see it with detail groups all the time. People at the Walmarts down there looking for parts or looking for products, at the parts store, right? You see this, but I saw this post. This is the most interesting, I think, that I've seen a Walmart quote unquote post, right? This guy goes, I have close contacts at the local Walmart automotive. Let's go ahead and start with that first opening sentence to the post. Hey, anybody going into a detailing group going, I got contacts at the local Walmart automotive? Boy, howdy, I tell you, this is my guy.
Yeah, no doubt. So what's
You
the other post?
excited? I'm excited. So it says, listen, hey, they got in contact. There's a woman who spilled a quart of paint in the back of her car. It's black and it's on the interior back of her car. All right. First off, let's just go ahead and go there, right? If we're somebody that gets that call, it does happen. We've said it here on these episodes. We've gone through this, but it's always fun because we see these posts. It is true. It doesn't matter if you go where you go. You can go down to listen. Sherwin Williams, I think, is doing a bunch here. Like there's the bunch of it seems to be these like local paint supply places just are popping up. You
Yeah.
go down there, you don't get a lid on tight. Things happen.
Yeah. Look, we've kind of said this before. Easiest thing to do is find from the manufacturer what they say to clean the paint up. They've done the homework. That this is what they do. They're going to have cleanup instructions for their paint. Like I said, we had some type of epoxy floor issue here next door when our neighbors moved in here at the shop, spilled it all over one of the workers' interiors. I I tried everything and found out that Dawn dish detergent straight up took it away. I mean, just like melted it away. It was done, and so that's the only thing you can do in those instances. But, again, if this happens to you, you're trying it DIY or you're doing this professionally, there's two different things. Professionally, you better make sure to charge. That's where a lot of people get into, big trouble professionally. But if DIY, the easiest thing to do is try to locate that exact brand, that exact, paint from that brand, usually on their website, and they'll have cleanup instructions, usually.
All right, so we get to play the game. Nick's favorite game. How much to charge? Here we go. The second post that we see regularly is how much to charge. Nick just told everybody, hey, you got to make sure to charge. So we get to ask the question back. Well, Nick, how much do you charge?
Oh, if it was all over the back today as a business, I don't think I would trust it for under four figures. I'd be 1,000 or more. I'm not in a place where I'm going to deal with that kind of stuff. I don't mind helping somebody out. If it's somebody I knew, maybe we would hop in. You got to be really cautious, man. A lot of people take this kind of work and, it's not only paint, right? Dog got sick, kids got sick, all that kind of stuff. That's when you go into that hourly charge. That's what I've kind of told people. I finally dug my way out of problems charging people on these, what you would call unique jobs, by just saying, hey, we set a clock. I got no problem, showing you by video that we're setting the clock and what time we're starting. And we'll tell you what time we stop. And here's my hourly rate, take it or leave it.
Well, and I think that's always the key one. If I did Saturday Night Live doing their throwbacks, if we did a Wayne's World, right, throwback and go back in the day, for me I did a bunch of nasty stuff. I always tried to do. I think the key here is what you said. I never thought of going to but we didn't have really phones that went on to websites back then, right? So I can tell
Sure.
you back in the day, right? But it's been a while since I had one of those phone calls. So anybody that now gets that phone call, that's great advice. But second advice, I think people always do want to know why. I wouldn't even know where to start, what to charge. And I think that's what you got to do is just, okay, well, if I click start and I click stop, how much do I want to make? Well, I got cleanup. Okay, that's got to still be in your start stop. Like when
Sure.
you're finished cleaning, not just the car, your own stuff. If you throw stuff away, that's got to go into it. Like every
Yep.
single thing in that moment, you go, listen, I'm hungry. Okay, go ahead and just put your hourly at $50 then. What do you
Yeah.
need to make? You just to get something done. If you get a phone call, why not?
Well, I think that's the other part of the problem is I don't think many people can tell you what they want to make, right? I mean, if you've ever hired people and you ever asked the question like, "Hey, you know, what do you need to make?" People just can't answer that question, So you have a leg up in business if you understand your expenses, if you understand what you need to make, because again, what you're going to make at the end of the job is what's important, not necessarily what you charge, right? Because everybody always looks at the charge amount. Well, the charge amount comes from knowing all your numbers, how much towels per job cost you, and how much your time costs you, or your shop costs you every time you have a car in, or drive time and gas and maintenance, and average that out over 20 working days or 22 working days, whatever you have that month. Look, man, if you don't know your numbers, it's very hard to charge people. And that's kind of what you see on posts like this is people are like, yeah, man, go make that money. I would charge $200. You'll be done in an hour. It's like, how do you know that? I can tell you this. I've had jobs that, I mean, you remember if you've ever had somebody drive through like tar, fresh asphalt type of stuff. And you go, it hasn't been on that long. This will be quick. And then you get to it and you're like, oh, this is not quick at all. And then you go, I didn't charge enough. I didn't do that. It's like, well, tar removal if you have to do it, I mean, you've had it where it's on the barrel of the wheel and it's, on plastic pieces and it's on painted surfaces and it's under door handles and it's, on a piece of trim and you go, hey man, I'm going to set a clock. And that's why I always say it's okay not to take the job. If I tell somebody, look, this is not what we do every day, we can get the job done, but this is how we charge to make it fair for us and make it fair for you. They start giving me back and forth or giving you back and forth. You got to walk away. You got to be like, hey, you have a mess. I know I can get it cleaned up. I need you to pay me fairly. I'll charge you fairly by just charging you my time. Like you said, time includes cleaning it up, cleaning up your stuff, throwing your stuff out, all that. You look at that, it is what it is. I mean, sometimes you got to walk away.
Yeah, and this guy I think was willing. I think a lot of people get into that moments and maybe are, but we always question that cost, right? That price. I think everybody is always, if we're somebody that spilled it in our car, geez, I mean, what are they going to hit me for? Like, gosh, is it going to all
Yep.
come out? But what's that price really going to be? This guy didn't have to worry, man. He had the sky's the limit. Not to worry. Walmart was going to cover it. Like, all good, man, right? And he puts in the post, not to be worried. No worries at all. They will be charged. Oh, never mind. Walmart's only offering $250 to remove oil-based paint. He's like, I'm out. Right? So good
Yeah.
for him. He goes and walks away and he's on. Now, all right, we see this next one. Especially since we've got some tire shines that we've released recently. I know we're going into March now. It's sort of the start of the season. Not everybody has used our V2s, right? Not everybody has. So I see this post when I see, what are you guys using for tire shine and how are you applying it? All right. So we got an outside detailer. This is guy, he's got a full van. I like it. It's got the little, when I say full van, it looks like he's full operational in a van. It's what, like a little Ford Transit. I sent it to
Yeah.
you. He's got a car outside. He's cleaning. Takes a little photo. So he's out in the environments. Doesn't have shade. He's out in the opens. What are you gonna use? We've got a couple that we've released recently. Are you gonna mix? Are you gonna go ultra dress? You gonna go straight,
Look,
ready to
we
use,
we
quick
we've
shine?
we've always said uh my guys carry all of them, and large truck tires were almost singularly infinite shine. Ease of application, the finish that you get, at the ease of getting that finish on bigger tires is the real thing that my guys and I would kind of vouch for. Is when you have multiple dressings, what you can find is each dressing allows you to finish the tires the way you want as quickly as you want. Now, I have some bigger off-road tires on my LX. I did Ultra Dress V2 at 3 to 1,
That look good.
and
He sent me those
realist
photos the other day. Nick cleaned his
realistically,
car, his once a month. We got
yeah,
it done at the end of the month, ready
yeah.
to get started for the new month.
Yeah, so I think for me, I'll be ultra dress on my tires from this point out. I'll be 5 to 1. I mean, because even if you guys haven't used Ultra Dress V2, you have no idea how much you can get out of that gallon. Like, I'll find it very rare that somebody will be using Ultra Dress straight. I,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't I don't really think that's going to happen with V2.
Mm-mm.
And I think most people are going to be 2 to 3 to 1. I
Yeah.
mean, you can get an incredible shine at 3 to 1, and it's actually too much shine for me. I'll be probably 5, 6 to 1 on my daily, driven LX. And so, for me, and this guy makes in the post, I mean, he's talking about sling and all this extra shine. Look, man, if you want a lot of shine, you're going to have to find a product that fits that. So again, Ultra Dress V2, as close to straight as possible, is going to be a pretty damn good shine. If you need more than that, we don't really carry that like artificial glazed donut type of tire shine. I don't believe that like old school kind of like looks like you could see your reflection in it. We don't really have that in our lineup.
So, he put in his post, he was like, listen, I came from the can. That's funny. Came from the shake up can. He liked the look, but he didn't like the amount of overspray, which
Yep.
we've joked about. You see all the time people with cans or, using the air gun and they're just spraying around. You just see this
I
mist
just love
going
when
all
they
over the
go,
place.
"There's no such thing as overspray," with how I have my gun set. It's like, I don't think that's how it works.
So loves the look, doesn't like the overspray, and doesn't like the sling. All right. But says he uses the little brush and is happy to go. Right. So, first of all, I go, listen, I do love the brush too. We've talked about it. We don't need to go back into it. The brush is a great thing. If you're somebody that's going, I've been using this other tire shine, I love this and I love this about it, but sling. All right. First off, we can all go, let's go with application first. Process of putting on your tire shine is the way to help you with sling. Number one, and coming back at the end with a brush and making sure that you get it all of now. YouTube, we have YouTube great videos, Nick, is where you talk about specifically on certain type of tires, the way to use the brush, the way to
Sure.
finish your tires. Everybody go over to our YouTube channel. You can go there and check out, when you're wanting to finish out some tires. So we got that sling part taken care of. The part here that I want to go over is that look. So if you're somebody that has come from something and you go, I love this look, and you fill in that blank. Nick just mentioned a glazed donut look. We might say that it would be infinite shine, but we're going to go, but our infinite shine just isn't to that, right? Like I think that would be the time to go ultra dress, even though I traditionally use quick shine. Maybe if you love that glazed donut, maybe the ultra dress 1 to 1. Maybe I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
and
and
this
I
would
would
be the
say
reason to use ultra
I
dress.
would say this, I really don't know that many people trying to do that anymore. I mean, I know there's probably pockets, I get it. I think here, one thing we don't talk about, one of the things that's great about Ultra Dress V2 that I really enjoyed messing around, and look, we've been testing it, but this is the first time I just got to like relax. It's out. I had some time. We were filming some stuff on my LX. I just wanted to clean it up. One of the things is when you're using a water-based dressing, especially on bigger tires, but you can do this on just normal SUV tires, whatever, even low pro if you have the spray right. Sometimes it's nice just to get it on there in your process, spray it onto your tire and let it soak in. And
Hmm.
then I finished the windows, I finished the paint, I did my door jambs, I did everything. By the time I
There's,
came back around,
there's plenty of
I
old school. We can all go to like while the car's still wet, you could do that, right? You've rinsed the car. I say there's plenty of old school people that while the car's wet, you would go and you didn't care about the overspray because you were going to still come back with a towel or you still had to dry
here's
the
the thing, you
car.
won't really if a gravity fed gun is much different than
Sure.
using a trigger sprayer. So with a trigger sprayer, you get close enough to the tire. I don't have this massive overspray I'm dealing with, right? Because number one, I'm not spraying a ton of product. I'm not atomizing it in a large area. I'm much closer to the tire.
If it's
Um,
windy out, right? You
yeah,
you
if
have
it's
to
look,
fight it in the wind.
yeah, actually, here's the deal. If it's windy, I wouldn't do what I did. Okay, if it gets super windy out here, it just goes right into my brush, and I just use it that way.
Ah, there you go.
I don't even, you
You don't ever
know,
do the sideways, like if the tire's here, you get real close to the tire and just kind of like
no,
barely
hey,
even like
I used to do that just trying to get stuff done, but no, I've had so many bad where it gets on the glass from the wind, and it just always created a bigger headache for me. But that's the great thing about like a large flag tip brush, right? Is that you have a lot of surface area to spray it on there and get it on the tire. But look, man, if you're in the middle of summer, the wind's down, get V2, ultra dress soaking in. Let it soak into the tire, nourish the tire a little bit. Go do a bunch of other stuff. And actually, when I did this on Friday, by the time I came back to the tire, I had very little to do. I mean, I just had very little to do. I just touched up some spots, got in tight to the wheel, called it a day. And I think you can make tire shine something that's just much bigger than it is. Find stuff that makes the car look good for that owner or for yourself, and then call it a day. I feel like so many people are looking for this next tire dressing that's going to make their car look crazy better. To me, if you grab Ultra Dress V2 and you can't find a dilution that works for your tires, you're not going to find a product that works because you have almost everything in that gallon. Now, the one thing about Quick Shine for me is like just like a normal mid-sized SUV like a Range Rover, Quick Shine goes on so fast. My guys love it for that. But they don't love it as much on truck tires. They just enjoy infinite shine on that. And low pro, like, 4 or 5 to 1 Ultra Dress, it just leaves the perfect amount of shine. And so uh, it, you don't have to go that route. But if you wanted to choose one, I mean, for an $80 gallon of Ultra Dress, you could really, really get a lot of use out of that product. Because I mean, I think most people are going to be 3 and 4 to 1.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll be there too. All right, so I've got two posts I want to talk back and forth on, back to back. On, I think there is. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I'm going to go ahead. We love when we put our stakes in the ground in a sense. I'm going to go ahead and call this. I think there's a resistance in the force growing. I think there's a resistance in the force growing here. There's a girl that posts. She's been detailing out of her house garage for 7 months now, generally enjoying it. Things are going well. She's grateful. Listen, I love the way it starts. I'm in,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Out of my house for 7 months. I'm enjoying it. Great for her. I'm loving this. She says though, she's like, listen, she's got a lot to learn and she's interested in learning. So she asked this, and here's where I say this, and I laughed. I thought it was funny. But is it real? Is the resistance in the force? Is it starting to grow? Here's her question. Like, I'm interested in learning as much as I possibly can. And she emphasizes from those with experience
Yeah, we are seeing that more. We are
who
seeing that
practice
more.
good habits and not content creators online. What?
Yeah, well,
What did she call
hey,
out? She
we
just
make
called him out.
we make content, Marty, so you might want to be careful. We might be considered content. No, she's right to post that. There's no doubt we're seeing a shift. We're seeing where look, we're doing this on March 3rd. By March 4th, you're going to see a big change in the car business. You're going to see a big change.
Tariffs are coming. Oh,
Tariffs come online tomorrow.
well, I
So
was
you're gonna
joking, but I was
yeah
right.
yeah tariffs come online tomorrow. Looks like we're sticking with them. You're going to see an average. I mean, you're going to see prices go up. $5, 10, $15,000. In some cases for some cars. She's right to say I want to find some people that know what they're talking about, and that's the way we should all feel, no matter any subject. People love to believe that guys like us are making these comments about detailing. I'd feel the same if I was trying to learn about a subject that I don't know very much about, or I'm just trying to get better at. How do I take this stuff I maybe have gotten my start off of YouTube, and now I want to learn the next level? You're going to want to learn the next level from people in the real world. It's like I tell people, I live in a pretty fortunate city that there's a lot of elite level chefs. Uh, Two very good family friends of mine now are executive chefs on the Strip. I don't need to learn how to feed my family on YouTube anymore. I just send them a text and go, "Did I do this wrong?" And they're like, "Ha ha ha, you're an idiot. Yes, you did that wrong." Right? And learning from people that do it every day and have done it every day for 5, 10, 15, 20 years is absolutely a great thing for this girl to be saying, which is we know that content creation's there. We all need to celebrate content creation because it's made detailing bigger. Detailing is way more known now than when you and I started, infinitely more known. than when we started. And the internet is a big reason for that. But that doesn't mean that they know how to run a business.
Yeah, and I guess I appreciate your tone. I was too laughy, jokey at the beginning, but I guess there is a serious tone to it. I mean, a lot of stuff is about to dramatically impact us. And I guess there is a time to, as we say, to really understand. I kind of took the joke too of that she was calling out that there are these people that are simply just trying, and I just go, man, that's what we've been saying. But people are starting to actually call it to a fact. Like,
But don't you think, like, let me ask you this. Don't you think that we're seeing that way before tariffs or anything we're talking about today?
I know, and
We've
that's why I joked at the
we
tariff. Like, I
we
didn't like.
we've been seeing this slow in just the consumption of content creators, I think, for the last year. I mean, you and I keep up pretty well on this. We've seen this whole kind of content creation around detailing. Number one, has not really moved the needle much for people that engage in it. And also the numbers are coming down. So I think people have caught on to it. And actually, a lot of detailing content we could share with people are people that have no interest in detailing and just like watching it. They're not even, you know what I mean? So she's right. And you're right with the force changing a little bit. I do think a lot of people that are trying to make this a profession, I think especially some of the younger crowd that feels like maybe they've been burned by some of this are probably starting to speak up and say, "Hey, can somebody give me a reliable source to talk to?" There, I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, and I say I get the feeling from her too. Which we love. There's plenty of people as we go into these moments of 2025. So you could put her 7 months ago, right? The end, right? Which we've said you've talked about, like towards the fall, there was some shakeup. So something would have happened with her career, with her job. So she comes into detailing. The cycle of detailing is always people that out of what they used to go into and into here, and
Yep.
then out of here and into something else, right? Like
And by the way,
it
that's been 25 years.
forever.
I've been doing this 25
Yeah.
years. I love when people go, since the internet. It's like, no, this was the cycle long before the internet, man. I know people when I worked for companies in the detailing space, just as a team member, the cycle of people in and out. I mean, we'd have people who are like, "Hey, I was an executive over here, always loved taking care of my car." They'd start detailing, they last 3 months, they go find another job. We'd find people that maybe just came out of their stay in the local county jail after a DUI. They'd get a job, then they go find something else they were better at, right? So I think people also need to hear this. We over dramatize at times that we're seeing a lot of this stuff because of the internet and detailing. I got news for you. For those of us that have been around, very little has changed inside the business of PPF, tint, detailing, all of it combined. Very little has changed about the people that come into those professions. Those have largely been the same exact people my entire career.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. All right. So I mentioned there was two posts around this idea of content creation. And here was the second one. This was a question from a guy that he says, what other great ways to make money in what are other great ways to make money in the auto detailing industries without detailing? So let's think for a second. Other great ways. I'm gonna stop there and go. The number one, the best way to make money in the auto detailing quote unquote industry
Mm.
is to do the service and charge somebody for the work. That is the number one way, the greatest way, the most money made in our industry is at the end point, service to
No,
customer.
because hey, all these chemical companies making all this money in our business. No, they aren't.
All these online people shooting
I,
videos,
I got
making
news.
money.
I got news for you, man. One of the things, if you're a detailer, you're a DIYer that makes that comment about chemical companies, which I see more and more now. They're like, just people that work on their stuff in their garage are like, this company trying to sell me stuff. They're all getting rich off of us. Let me tell you, the richest people monetarily in the detailing space. It's the people doing the service. Now, just because that's spread out over thousands upon thousands upon thousands of providers doesn't change the fact that I am now an owner in a chemical business and I also own a detailing business. Let me tell you which one's more profitable, and it ain't close. It ain't close. Okay. Guys, I can put a truck on the road that does 30 or $40,000 a month and keep half the money. You ain't doing that in the chemical business. Matter of fact, I can show you people who are selling and distributing chemicals that are lucky if they make 5.5% at the end of the year. You guys who are doing this on your own, you're keeping 90 plus percent of the money, 80 plus percent of the money after expenses. There is no other thing in auto detailing even close to the amount of percentage of profit you can make than off an auto detailing service. That doesn't mean it's the most enjoyable at times. I'm going to sit there and that's why this guy's asking this. He's doing the work. He's getting a little beat up. He's getting a little tired. He's getting some bloody knuckles. And he's like, what else could I do in this space? Because I do like the space, but I don't like the hard work, which, by the way, that's how it should have been worded. But I do want to say this, and I'll let you say your piece on this. If you believe for 1 second that chemical business make anywhere near the profit margin as somebody actually doing the service, you've been sorely misled and you just don't understand the numbers.
Well, you look at anything. Like, I mean, I'll go to that because at one time where you talked about bloody knuckles, you talked about pains. There's a time I've said it. I felt part of my back, which look at the where I'm at now. I go, wow, interesting. I felt something in my back, and my back's what really was the problem. Like,
Yeah,
what would have happened? Like I had to, I knew I couldn't, my body couldn't go. I wanted to make a choice. And I could say after all these years, there's nothing more profitable. There's nothing greater, like the greatest, like absolute greatest. That's his question. What's the greatest? The greatest is the service to the customer. It's the greatest. Now, he lists some other things. One of them were what you had said, selling products, right? It is great, but is
it
it
is great.
as great? No. Here's the other part why we were going on content creation because out of the other ones he lists, they're all marketing, content creation, digital marketing, social media, right? Like he lists all these things where the girl previously goes, "Hey, listen, I just want people that don't do all those things."
Sure.
Whereas he's going, "Hey, can I do all these things but not actually do the detailing?"
Well, and the other thing about content creation that gets mixed up is, guys, it's work. I mean, there's just this big idea that all this stuff is just, I'm just going to go find this next thing and it's going to be easy. And guess what? Everything you do costs some semblance of time and some semblance of money. When you do a detail, especially if you look at ceramic coating, I mean, this would always be funny to me. You know, you do a 5-year ceramic coating and you're charging properly, your costs are less than 10% of the total job. So you got guys that have done $2,000, you know, 5-year coatings and some paint polishing. They got less than, $220 in total cost on the job. They walk with, let's just call it $1,500 or above. There is no other space you can do that. There is no other space in auto detailing. And by the way, this is the same in plumbing. Okay. The plumber goes to the plumbing store, buys a couple fittings, goes out to your house, fixes your plumbing. Guess who's making the most money on that job? It's not the guys making the fittings. Now, can they sell to more people? And therefore, they can gain more money by selling more volume across the United States and across the world. There's no doubt about that. Okay. But if you think that's low cost to expand your business across multiple states and countries, no. I mean, dude, just for us to ship something across state lines and across the world, the amount of work you and our team have to do, those people have to get paid. Our warehouse staff makes a great living. The software we got to have, the infrastructure we got to have, the boxes we have to have built, the paper to put in the boxes we have to have built, the shipping we have to pay. Guys, this whole idea, and this is why we tell people if you're doing detailing and you're going, hey, I want to supplement my income in detailing because I'd like to not have to detail as much, become a distributor. Okay. Become a distributor, add to your business, do it in an intelligent way. It keeps you in the business, partner with a company like ours, move yourself forward. And you know what happens? You're going to find out, hey, I do like selling products. And guess what? You can make a good living off that. I don't want people to think that, but the exact question was the greatest part of the business to make the most money. That is detailing. Supplement it with being a distributor, it can become pretty life changing. And we have case studies of a bunch of people that are now making 30, 40, 50, another $60,000 in their business profit a year distributing chemicals. I'm not telling you not to do that, but the idea that you're running away from detailing, you're going to have a hard time doing that because you're going to see the cost of everything else is way bigger than just going out and detailing.
Yeah. Oh my, excuse me. Wrong time to cough. Right as I went to go speak. But so, the next question that we have is around Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape, Gorilla
Yeah.
Glue, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's great and does wonderful things. I love Gorilla Tape. You can go put it and lock some stuff down. We laugh and we joke. We see cars, right? Always fun
Yeah.
to see cars with whether
Taped up,
that's Gorilla Tape or other ones that
duct
they go
tape.
put on duct tape. Uh, but but if it's left on too long or applied to the places that it's not supposed to be applied, which is the majority of the vehicle, not supposed to
Which
take
which
duct
is
tape
which
or
is
gorilla
all of it. Yeah, which is all
tape.
of it. Just so we're all clear, it's all of it.
So we can understand where this question and the segment of the market where this question comes from.
Yeah, I'm
Not
guessing
Porsche
this
guy.
wasn't at the Rolls-Royce
Yeah.
dealership.
This didn't come from the Porsche club I'm in. Any tricks to remove leftover Gorilla Tape or adhesive off of? Here's the kicker. Here's the kick in the nuts. It should have been a would you rather. Would you have rather done
Plastic trim?
that paint that spilled? No, thin cloth trim.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
out.
I
I'm
look,
out. Like I don't.
I might
I
be
don't
out,
think
but
I would.
again, let's talk as if we have to do something like this, guys, and I've been getting a lot of these different conversations. I actually had a weird question, and I'm trying to remember right now. I forget what it was, but it was something like this, okay, where it was like, "Hey, things can." Oh, I think a carbon fiber issue on a hood. Okay, I believe maybe slipping my mind right now. A Porsche carbon fiber hood. There was some damage. Okay, and I apologize. It's slipping my name. Who I talked to about this, but the first thing is I said carbon fiber is unpredictable, so you're gonna have to look at the client and go, "If I pull out sandpaper and it screws this up, you're good.
It ain't
Like,
on
this is
me.
on you,
Yeah.
whatever."
Are you
This would
into that?
be
Like make them sign something, or it's just
yeah, yeah,
looking the
you look
handshake, or
look,
what?
I would say this.
Do you ever pull out your phone and hit record at the same time just in
Yeah, I
case?
mean,
Like
you have to know, I really don't do a lot of these jobs anymore unless it's somebody I know really well, and I go, "Hey, man, I'm letting you know. This thing goes awry. This is all you." I had that on a Range Rover not too long ago where I said, "You want me to fix this? I don't think it's fixable. I'm gonna try to fix it. If I can't, I'm driving it to the body shop. Are we good? Yeah, we're good." And I tried it, didn't work. It went right to the body shop, and we took it there. Uh, so this
you
would be
think
one
that's
of
the
those.
key? Because I think a lot of detailers wouldn't have that in their back pocket, and so they just would go, "Okay, I'm going to try and fix it, but I might not be able to fix it." And then they would go, "What do I do?" And then the detailer would be like, "I don't know. Call the body shop or
Yeah,
call the dealership."
yeah. Just go to the. I mean, you got
They should already
and
have one in their back pocket.
yeah, you go, "Hey, this is a good dealership or this is a good body shop. If you want to go to this body shop, I can take it right then. If there's something goes wrong, if we all agree it's going to the body shop and you can deal with the body shop and I'm kind of out of the loop at that point. I'll make sure that it's handled properly, tell them what was broken or, what needed fixed, but I'm out." Right? Meaning like we all have an agreement. And that'd be the similar thing to this is there's things like rapid remover. You got 3M adhesive remover, but boy, oh boy, could you imagine putting that stuff on a cloth, especially a thin
I was
cloth?
like, "Man,
That's
I don't know.
that's
I'm out."
that's.
Like,
And by the way, it'll work. It'll come off, but it might bring the whole thing with it. But yeah, I mean, there's some of this stuff, and even if you're an owner listening to this, I've been getting a lot of stuff about people with older vehicles since now I have a 2003 Lexus, and they're asking me, I go, the difference between me and you is mindset. I know the minute I start doing something that it could lead to me having to pay to have it fixed or buy a new one or whatever. Because I have that built in, I'm not scared when I do something because already in my head I go, "Hey, if this one don't work, we're getting a new seat, we're getting a new trim piece, we're getting a new, piece of glass or whatever it may be." And that's what you have to set your customer up. And if you're somebody out there that this happened to, and you want to try some things, you just have to be okay with where it could end up. And that means buying a new piece, going to a body shop, going to a leather upholstery shop, whatever the case may be. That is the key to taking on these types of jobs or doing them yourself, is understanding we could be buying a new door panel or a new piece of cloth or whatever the case may be.
All right, so final discussion, and this is for those of you who only get to do it once a month, like Nick and Zaya.
I don't have a whole
Uh,
team at HQ just helping me wash everyone's cars, so I'm just over here by myself, having to film, having to move the camera around. But hey, we're just making jokes at Nick's expense today.
yep, yep, pretty much. Uh, so Zaya got lumped in there, but you let him off the hook, so we'll leave you as the main key. So anyway, the joke was because it was this weekend, and listen, I drove the Jeep home because it was nice. There was a chance that maybe I could, and I could, so I did. Took the top off. We were gonna go grab some, just grab a little lunch, have a little afternoon. So I got about 15 minutes. It's dusty. That's what I love about not being a once a month guy.
Yeah,
I could just grab some Eco One in the 16-ounce bottle. I don't have to go full heavy. I
yeah,
can just go light mist with the versatile, and boy, get a little dust, and I can quickly go around. Now, leaving the neighborhood, the guy, I guess he had just got it. I hadn't seen this truck out there, but maybe it's just one that he pulls in and out. Was wiping down. You could see him finishing off. He had washed his. It was an F-150. It was black. It was dark. And when you see it, you see it. And what I saw was, well, I always say, like, listen, somebody's running and they're running. You go, listen, that guy's a good runner and that guy's not a good runner. Like, you can see certain ways that somebody's going to, somebody throws the ball,
yeah.
right? You can see it
You
and you
know.
cannot see it. Somebody's wiping down their F-150 black truck. You just trying to think in your mind if you go, they're, they got it or they don't got it. I'm going to let you know if you see it, you'll
Has he
go,
got
they
a beach
don't got
towel?
it. Huh?
Beach towel?
Yep, yep. Okay, you're right. You're there. Beach towel. We're there. We're there. Beach towel. Great job. Second, right? So somebody's got it. They at least got the beach towel off. And it's the way they hold the towel,
Oh yeah,
flopping all around,
hitting the
flying it. You
ground,
see
hitting
it
the
in
tires.
we talk content creation a second. You see it in those videos. You see in all kinds of videos where people just grab a towel and they just start going to town,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Versus those of us that know that no, you got to
Just fold
fold
it
that
up.
thing into a four, and you got to go and put it, and you got to do. You
Yeah.
see it,
You see it, There's no there's
you
no
know.
there's no question. And one of the weirdest things about watching people is, and we all, I mean, and everyone listening has this because I'm guessing most of you are kind of like this, is that you also can't say anything. Like if you stop and say something to this guy, you're the dick. Like I mean, it's his truck. He's out there. I don't know whether he's enjoying it or doing it out of necessity. But I'll say this. I think people are going to be shocked. I think we saw it pick up in 2024. I think 25 and 26, we're going to see it. Going to be seeing a lot of more people in their driveway doing this. People better buckle up because you're going to see a lot more neighbors, a lot more people cutting costs, cutting expenses. The car wash is going to go away. The detailer is going to go away. This stuff's going to happen, man. You got to be prepared for it. You got to open your eyes. That's why we just talked about distribution earlier. The way to not get mad at this guy is probably what you'll end up doing long term, because this is what I do in my neighborhood. I'll be like, hey, man, I own a company. I had an extra something at my house. Use this when you're drying your car off next time. That's kind of how I do
Oh, that's where
things.
those extra orders when you
Hey,
get them.
wait a
Now
minute.
I
Wait a minute.
see. Now I
Not
know.
hey, let's not talk
Not
about the
so much
usage of
about
products.
HQ anymore. Now we get it. Here we go.
But the difference is I only get what's sent to me. For all you out there, I only get what arrives in a box. Marty can just go, pour it out, in the back. So, but I mean, that's kind of what you would do, right? Is you'd see a neighbor and you go, "Hey, man, I mean, you know this. I have so much stuff here from HQ because we send so much stuff back. Is it there's just I told you there's a kid down the street from me that I've taught him how to take care of his Mustang. Like, dude, I just when I look in my cabinet, I go, okay, this is going in a box. And I just go down there and go, hey, bud, haven't seen you in a while. Here's a box of stuff. Go check out our website. It'll tell you how to use it. He's been grateful. But I mean, that's what you do, right? But I mean, when you look at it, we encourage people to take care of their car, but you haven't seen it come back on a huge level in someone's driveway that I think you're about to see.
Yeah, it is a great point. But you see it, and right, it goes into the either they have it or they don't. Right,
Yeah.
like you can definitely in kids sports. It's a
Yeah.
great one.
You and I are big about the it. You know when somebody's got it, whatever that is. Like, you see somebody doing something, you go, it looks like they know what they're doing. Then the other times you go, I don't think that person's ever done this before. It's just like the it thing that we all have that stuff, right? Like, but yeah, 100%.
So, I think the challenge for most of us, because most of us would probably say we don't have it in everything,
Oh,
right? But
100%.
if we are somebody that's listening, that, you know, like we saw a post in the specialist group. We see it in post all the time where people are questioning, how do I get moving with something, or how do I get doing with something? Like, you can see a lot of times whether or not somebody has it or doesn't have it. And I think the it when it comes to business, when it comes to specifically with this question, we see about coatings. How do you guys get better at, right? How do you get better at business? How do you get better at selling? How do you get more people to use? How do you get more people to sign? How do you get more customers? How do you get, right,
Yep.
it?
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, I'll share my history on this. I could have a bunch of family and friends tell you this. Up until I was the age of 28, I was a super quiet guy. I hardly said anything. I didn't talk a whole lot. It's how I was as a kid, according to my family. It's how I was most of my, young adult life. At 28, I decided to start a business, late 27, 28 years old. I had to change because the part of business, and everybody hears me speak on the podcast. I certainly wasn't like this when I was 25. This was not a comfortable way for me to be. And still at times, I think you and I talk about it. It's tough. This is the toughest part of when you sign up to own a business. The first thing you sign up for is being the sales and marketer of your business. That's the first thing. It's not being the service provider, because if you're the best detailer in the world and you don't sell anybody, you have no work to do, right? So it isn't the chicken and the egg thing like everybody thinks. It's literally to find out, if you don't sell anything, you won't work on anything. Plain and simple. So you have to have some type of sales and marketing ability. And I think this is the biggest hurdle everybody has to understand, is that if you take incredible pride in your skill set, I think that's awesome. That's not the foundation of a business. No matter what anybody wants to tell you, the foundation of your business is how many jobs you can sell to then use your skill set. Because I could build the best car in the world. If I don't sell any of them, I'm not in business, right? Toyota's beat me. They're selling millions. I'm selling zero. I'm out of business. They're making billions of dollars. It's pretty simple, right? And I think that is the place we have to start. If you don't accept that, I think you and I've watched it for our whole career. You just won't be around. You just won't be around.
yeah. So we got to stay with number one, right? We have to do sales. In order to do sales, we got to do marketing.
Yep.
Most people always get confused that sales and marketing are the same. They're not the same.
No.
I'm better at marketing. Nick's better at sales.
Sure.
Like, Nick's much better at closing somebody. My greatest weakness in sales and marketing was always the close. I was
It's
much
hard.
better at, like, let's get as many people in the funnel. We didn't know them as funnels, but now we know them as funnels. Like, get
Yeah.
as many people that we can talk to as possible, and hopefully tell them about all the problems we could solve for them. And
Yep.
then all those people are going to get down to where it didn't even, there was no reason for them not to. It just makes sense for them to do it. And that's how I close people. I didn't have a close. I wasn't a closer. I mean, I
Yeah.
wasn't.
It's, all
You
of it's
didn't
tough.
play
I
Wild
mean,
Thing and you didn't put a 99 on me and I didn't come out of the bullpen. It
yeah.
was not the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I
No.
was the guy that started. I got a couple innings in. I did pretty good. I was all
Yeah,
right.
no, and you're exactly right. Number 1, they're 2 different things, and the
Yeah.
easiest way to market your business when you're starting out is to go shake hands, man. Knock on some doors and shake hands, and that is you'll find out a lot about yourself right there. Like, anybody telling you that part's easy, it's not easy, especially if you've never done it. Is it easier for me today? Yes. Is it easier for you today? But it ain't easy. I mean, it's still not easy. It's not the easiest thing I do all day is trying to open doors and talk to people and shaking hands. I mean, it's not easy, but it is a part of business, and it's the biggest part of business is to first go out and market to people. You can do so through the internet, but like I said, I'm talking to the guys getting their start. You're going to have to go open some doors, and you're going to have to walk into some territories and be uncomfortable. And when we talk about selling coatings, I want to say something here that I think has probably always helped me, but we don't ever say it out loud. I've always believed in protecting your car and your car's paint, period, point blank, end of story. I believed in waxes when that's what we had. I believed in sealants when that's when we did it. I believed in express spray waxes when those came out and it made it easier to do it more often. And I did it every time that I touched one of my cars or a customer's car. So coatings were a natural evolution for me, and I didn't have to sell myself on the fact that I believed in them. There's a lot of guys selling coatings that they wouldn't pay for to have installed on their own car. And if you won't pay for it to be on your own car, you're not going to be able to sell people that you believe in the product because you don't. And that's where it starts. I've never had to jump over that hurdle myself.
So let's unpack that for a second, because I wanna challenge a couple people here because I think there's some layers to that. I think there's some people that they need to not just go, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a bottle of Stack and I'm gonna put you know an ounce on. No, no, that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about.
Agreed.
And we're not even talking about you if getting tray and putting tray on either. That is the next level there, which I think
Sure.
there's a lot of us that haven't even done that. We don't believe in the technology, believe in the ease of use, believe in it to go 3 years, and then believe in the maintenance that's required, because that's when we'll yell at people, but then we don't do it weekly ourselves. We
Sure.
maybe join the Nick once a month club, maybe.
You better stop. People are going to start believing you.
Zaya, I'll just say Zaya then. The Zaya once a month club, right? Either way, yeah, you're right. I got to get off of that, but it's funny at the time. So we'll even just go that far, and we go, okay, well, I put it on my car. You know, I wonder if there's another layer. The absolute that most of us should challenge ourselves is go, I should have my company charge me personally and pay out of my own pocket to install, so I can see then what it's like to put that money down. And then,
I like it.
do I believe in it? Do I pay for it? Do I then encourage myself back to go, hey, if you just spent 600, if you just spent 1200, hey, I value how much you put down because I've done it myself. And here's the way you're going to need to really make sure that the value of the money that you just spent is taken care of with these regular services of us, coming and take care of these products so that you can do it, right? We can all understand the next evolution of that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the key for people, Nick. You might have just
Yeah.
unlocked the door.
I like that. I would say this. we got a new family SUV. It got full paint protection film on every surface and got stacked and has been stacked, I think, 3 or 4 times in, 6, 7 months because I know I'm not going to be able to see it as regularly. My family's busy. We got kids going to things. So I'm just trying to give myself a prayer, right? I'm trying to say, hey, I know I can't get to this all the time. And so every time I see it, pretty much, not every single time, but almost every time I put stack on it. I mean, some of that stuff's been, inside of a month doing it twice. Could seem like overkill, but I know there's going to be a time, which I'm in right now. I haven't been able to get to my family's vehicle in about 6 weeks. And I'm like, it just makes me feel better looking at it because I go, okay, the PPF is there, the coating's on there. I can't just rip my family's vehicle out because that's what my kids get transported around. But here's the deal, there's a good thing to be said here, which is I believe in this stuff and it's on my cars. You know, I believe in tint. Me not putting tint on my vehicles doesn't make sense. It just flat out doesn't make sense. And the number one thing that we see from people, and I like how you said it is, you know, if you buy stack and you put it really thinly on your vehicle, you're still not committed, right? So part of this is I didn't have to be sold on waxes when that was the only thing, or sealants, or coatings, or PPF. I'm sold on protecting my cars. That's why I can look people in the eye and go, if I was driving your car, here's what I would do. The reason I can do that in my sales process is because that's what I do. Like if I have somebody who goes, I got a 2-year lease on a Mach E, I'd go, hey, what I would do is I'd throw dose on there. I'd bring it in, let us maintain it, all that kind of stuff for those 2 years. You'll trade it in. You'll have a great experience with it. That's exactly what I would do. Every
With
car, I get to say this is what I would do.
doses on our Neymar.
Yeah, that's we're not doing that. What kind of car is it for all of us that actually, have some respect for ourselves? What what is it? What's on the Yeah.
Doses on our Nissan Rogue. What's a 23 Rogue?
Yeah. And look, you
Yeah,
guys
that's what I
may
wanted. I
and here's the
wanted those.
thing.
That's
And
what I chose for
also,
it.
you kinda told me when you bought it, you're like, "Hey, we may or may not keep it." So you throw a dose on it, you check it out, make sure you like the vehicle. But I know you, inside of 2 years, it's gonna get a fresh polish and something
Well, we already
else.
did. Yeah, we already
Yeah, yeah.
polished it and put another dose on. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
like, at the end of the day, this is kind of what I want everybody to hear about sales and marketing. It's hard to sell things that you don't wholeheartedly believe in and are experiencing and dealing with on a consistent basis.
And so, what do you do when you get water spots, right? Let's go back to that conversation. What do
Sure.
you believe that I put? So, put dose on. It's been on there. Now, went through this past week or so where there's some stuff we're testing out. I love it. Nick's about to get the latest version of it, and it's a soap, and I used the soap and it did take off all the water spots off the vehicle except two little small spots where I think I showed you this very little
Yeah.
tiny ring that, and if you don't have lights, you'd have never seen it. So did the coating do its job? It did. It did its job. It protected the clear coat. It protected the paint. I got Dose for me is what I put on regularly. And when I'll
And
go
but
back,
you also need to say you had an adverse event that shouldn't have happened, right? That shouldn't have taken place because actually you told them this shouldn't take place. So something out of your control happens. The coating withstands everything. You basically have two tiny water spots. You take a polisher, you polish those off, and you throw another whether that's stack or you throw dose back on there or whatever, and you do what you got to do. And this is the thing is that you believe in coatings because you've been through these things on your own car. You go, hey man, the dealership does that to your clear coat. You're buzzing that clear coat. Like now you're taking paint off that car.
the Jeep can't go to the dealership and go through that car wash. We
Yeah.
said it, right? I've jokingly bragged about it. Raw dogging on the Jeep,
Yeah.
right? It ain't going through the car wash of the dealership. It's in trouble if it does. Like,
Yep.
that
Yeah,
ain't
and by the
happening.
way, just so we're clear, we're doing a lot of that stuff because we need to test things,
Yes.
right? You
Yeah.
you would be very different if we weren't in testing mode all the time. Same for me. Like the big thing with my LX this last week was just to see how it performed with just having slick on it. Let's just put slick on it till I can get to it. But there's already a plan. We're going to shoot content. I'm going to do a full correction on this thing. And let me say this, I'm probably going to PPF the front end. I got to see kind of how the paint is when I correct it and how it kind of reacts. And I got some spots I got to see if I really want to like dive into like massive sanding or if there's an ability to. But I say this readily, it's getting a robust coating on it regardless, right? Like that I am already committed to. And I'm not committed to it because I'm an owner in hyperclean. I'm committed to it because I did that before I was ever at hyperclean. I did this because I believed in coatings. I waxed my vehicles because that's what I had at the time and that's what I believed in. And so there's many of us in the professional space that need to take a step back and we need to ask ourselves, do we really believe in what we're doing? If you're not doing this stuff to your cars at the bare minimum, and probably throwing some free stuff in there for your mom so you can try some things out and free stuff for your brother to try some things out and get your processes done. If you're not even doing that kind of stuff, largely, you don't really believe in this stuff. And I think it's going to be very hard to sell somebody. And I think that's the largest hurdle that we see.
Well, I believe everybody should go over to the YouTube when you're, if you're like me on the weekends, you enjoy putting your couch chair up and popping on YouTube and watching Nick clean some wheels. Listen, it's awesome. Go over to HyperClean store on YouTube. Great stuff. Also, what the new stuff we would come out with you? We were talking about window tint. Boy,
Yeah.
great information there. Everybody go over to the YouTube channel and you can definitely get all the content creation that you could ever want. All right. See y'all
I
next
guess
time.